Hi, elementary. How are you guys? Is everybody good? It's weird because it's chapel day, but I'm not with you. But I was like, I want to still do a chapel video because I love chapel and it's one of the most important parts of school and our Christian school in my mind. So I still wanted to do a video with you, for you. And I hope that you'll get something out of it. It's going to be a shorter video, but it's just something that the Lord kind of brought to mind a couple of things that happened that I saw that I just had to share with you, and I hope that you'll listen well and permit me to share those things with you, even though I'm not with you today. But we ended up we ended up last week finishing our little series, I guess you want to call it, on love, right? With Ruth, and because we talked about love in the month of February, how we ought to love one another, show loving kindness. But remember, it wasn't the googly eyes and the, like ushy, mushy, gushy kind of love. We were talking about showing loving kindness, compassion, care, and things for other people in our lives, because that's what Jesus did. So when I think of the month of February, that's what I think of. I think of how God showed love to us and how he wants us to show love to others. We talked about how love is patient and it's kind and it's not boastful and bragging and it's not jealous and envious, and it's doing and choosing to show kindness and love to other people. And so that's how we left off. We left off with a wonderful story of Ruth finding that kindness, that loving kindness in Boaz, and how God used that whole picture of Boaz showing such kindness to Ruth as how God shows loving kindness to us. We're rotten sinners. We don't deserve Jesus' love, but God is kind of like that same idea where Boaz took care of Ruth and made sure she was good. And that's what Jesus does for us. And what a beautiful thing that is. Well, when I think the month of March, and even when I looked up, ideas for bulletin boards or ideas for March ideas in the classroom, most places consider March the month that we talk about or think about kindness. So Dr. Seuss's birthday, and there's so many great stories and things that he's done, and he's teaching about showing kindness. But then there's just so many things where we think of kindness, and I couldn't help but think we're at this point of the year, and March is a great year to think about kindness because the beginning of this year, it was so interesting. I would sit out with watching third and fourth graders at recess, and I just would watch and just smile because pretty much everybody in the third and fourth grade were playing all together. They were all playing tag together. Like it wasn't groups of children. It was just everybody playing together, because I think we all have missed each other so much from last year and not being together and missing so many months together, that when we finally got together in September, August and September, we were like, oh, we're finally together. This is so great. Everybody's playing together. Everybody's enjoying one another and having a great time. And now we've been with each other for a few months and several weeks. And now we're kind of to the point where I'm starting to see all of that. Like, yes, we get to be together. COVID took us apart for so many months, but yes, we're back together and we can have this great time together I'm sick of looking at your face. You do this and you do that and this. There have been tiffs and little, arguments here and there, and you did this to me and you said this to me and you hurt my feelings and I don't like that you said this and you did, and we're like picking at each other and we're starting to give each other a hard time. And some of that loving kindness that we had at the beginning of the year, because we were just so happy to be back together and see one another, it's kind of drifted away a little bit. And now we're starting to get a little antsy with each other and a little nitpicky and backbiting, like we just want to at each other. And so I couldn't help but think March is such a great month to talk about kindness because we easily get to this part of the year and we're like, "Ugh, I'm tired of snow and I'm tired of cold and I'm tired of darkness. I'm tired of this kid in my class and I'm tired of that teacher and I'm tired of school and I just want spring break and then I want summer. That's all. I'm done. I've had enough of it all. I'm tired of schoolwork." And we forget the joys and things that we had at the beginning of the year. And we forget to sometimes even be kind. I have to say, last Friday, you guys surprised and blessed us teachers with the kindness that you showed by showing us how much you appreciate us. That meant the world and it was so special. And each of us teachers were saying, look what I got and look what this one gave me. Wow, what a special gift. This was so nice. It was such a blessing to see all the kindness that you guys showed to us. And I couldn't help but think, you know what? If we did that more often for each other, what a difference it would make. Instead of backbiting at each other, instead of going at each other, and now, we were all playing together in the beginning of the year, and now we're like, no, you can't play with us, and no, you're not good enough, and no, you're not a part of this. We are forgetting to show that kindness to one another. And I want us to kind of get in that mindset of, what can I do to be kind this month? This is a great month to think, okay, I'm going to take each week and I'm going to choose somebody or something to do to show kindness to somebody else. What can you do to show kindness? Because those gifts and those just, not even gifts, but like when you guys just came up to us and said, we appreciate you. Here's just something to let you know that we appreciate you. Just the words meant so much. How much can our words and our actions do the same thing for somebody else? So I know there's like no story, no pictures and all of that. It's just my boring talk. But I just have to share with you some stories of like kindness that really spoke to my heart this past week or so. And that's kind of where this whole chapel talk came from, this little chapel chat, because the Lord brought it to mind how special it is to show kindness. I had a friend that posted something online and I just kind of was looking at it really quickly and I was going to scroll through it, and then I stopped for a second and I looked and I was like, what is going on? And my friend had posted something about, would somebody do this for me? Or something like that. And it showed a lady that was in an exercise class. And when you're in an exercise class with a bunch of people, it's hard. And sometimes there's hard things that you have to do. And what happened was this lady, she was doing, those step aerobics and stepping up on the box and doing this whole back and forth thing. And she got to the point where she was getting tired. And the little caption says she was just about to quit because she was like, I can't lift my leg anymore. It hurts. I'm too tired. I can't breathe and I don't feel good. And when I scrolled back and really watched that video, I noticed the trainer. And the trainer was standing in front of her and he's like going, all right, come on, hit my hands with your knees. And so she's like, okay. And she's trying. And the trainer's like, come on, you can do it. But then there was a bunch of people behind her. All the other people in the class. All those people in the class, they had choice what they could do. They could have stood there and went, oh my word, why doesn't she just do? I mean, it's not that hard. I've been doing it the whole time too. I'm sweating. Like, what's her real problem? She needs to go to like another class somewhere else because that's just ridiculous. But that's not what, they didn't choose that route, which I'm very glad. When they panned, the camera panned after the trainer's like, come on, you can do it. And they panned the camera around the whole room. All the people in the background, instead of sitting and laughing at her going, she can't do it. Look at how foolish she looks. Oh my word. She really needs to work out too because she doesn't look good. Oh my goodness. Instead of that, they were all sitting there going, all right, come on, you can do it. Come on, you got this. Keep going. Yes, yes, yes. They're calling her name out. They were cheering for her. They're clapping for her. And she kept going. She was so tired. But she kept going. That's my dog, for those of you that don't know. And she finished strong because she had people supporting her, showing her kindness. They could have embarrassed her. They could have made her feel bad, and she may never have walked back into that gym again. But instead of making her feel bad, they encouraged her so much that she finished her rounds of whatever she was doing, and she got stronger, and she kept going. And now she's probably going to come back and she's going to keep fighting and she's going to keep doing what she needs to do to get her body and her heart healthy and her lungs healthy because people encouraged her. They showed her kindness. They could have chosen to say unkind things. They could have chosen something different, but they didn't. They were encouraging. So that happened and I saw that and I was like, oh, that's really awesome. Like, I really want to encourage my students in my classroom in third grade. I want to encourage them, like when we're playing math games or when we're playing like a science or a history review game, instead of going, oh, you didn't know this. Oh, you never get it right. Oh my goodness. Come on, you don't know. I'm really hoping that I can get them to go, come on, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it, and encouraging one another. When it's a math fact that they're not sure about or a math problem, no, you're not giving up, you don't give up, you keep trying, you can do it. That's what I'm like, oh, I was like, I've got to tell them about this video, and I've got to tell them how much I want them to just push on each other to encourage each other. I don't know if I remember to do that or not, but I am right now. So third grade, you make sure you're listening. But then this week brought something else. I was in my classroom after school, right? Or actually, I was with a student and we were doing some review of some spelling and some different things. And as I was reviewing with the student, I heard the junior varsity basketball boys, they're going tearing down the hall because they have to do these hallways and they have to go as fast as they can from the high school wing all the way down to the elementary wing. Some of you guys that are in aftercare, you've heard them, and they're like booking it down the hallway. And I'm always afraid when that time comes because they're going so fast. I'm like, oh, I don't want them to run me over or hurt any other kids or whatever. And they're booking it. Well, I heard them all going, and their feet are going past my room. And then I heard some slower feet. And I was like, oh man, one of the boys is struggling. I don't know who this boy is, but he's not going as fast as the other ones. And I was like, oh, I wonder how that's going to go. Like, what are they going to say? How are they going to act? Well, as that boy got past my room, I could hear the slower feet and he was kind of going, like it was hard. I heard those junior varsity boys go, come on, you can do it. Come on, come on, come on. And I was like, they're doing the same thing in the video. Did they see my video that I just watched? Because that's exactly the same thing. And then the next thing that happened is because once they go all the way down to the elementary side, then they've got to all the way back to the high school side. And then they stand down there for a little while and breathe for a couple seconds. And then they got to go back again. And then they have to go back to the high school side again. And then they breathe for a little bit. And then they have to go back again. And I mean, they do this like 4 or 5 times. And I'm like, I can't breathe listening and watching them. But one of the times when they went back, I noticed it wasn't like one person whizzed by, one person, boom, 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 like they did before. The whole group were running a little bit slower, and they were running with that slower kid. the one who was struggling to keep up, they ran with him and they were like, come on, we got this. Come on, let's go. And they slowed down and they ran with him to encourage him. Now, when they got back, they had to go back and they got back to the other side and they started doing their fast ones again. And that little one, he kept trying. And there was one boy in 5th grade that he stopped. He was really fast. So he got down to the end, stopped, and he came back around, jogged with this boy. He was like, okay, come on, I'll jog with you the rest of the way. Come on, you can do it. Come on, you can do it. And I just thought, oh my goodness, that little boy in 5th grade could have been like, oh, come on, dude, can we go? Like, we got stuff to do. We got practice. We want to be done with these hallways. You got to go faster. Instead of complaining, instead of making fun of him, oh, can you believe how slow he's going? What is going on? Like, this is ridiculous. Instead of that, they rallied around, encouraged, and showed kindness. And this boy who thought he couldn't make it, it was too hard, he did the hard thing because somebody encouraged him. Boys and girls, there's going to be times in your life when somebody around you is going to need a little push of encouragement. We do enough tearing each other down. We break each other down sometimes, and we forget that's not what God has. God wants us to lift each other up, build each other up, encourage one another, show kindness to one another. So I couldn't help but want to share that with you. That video where, that lady is trying really hard and all the other people in the class are like, you got this, you go, you can do it. And she finished strong. And then in our own school, we had some junior varsity boys on a basketball team who they just wanted to get down and be done with this running thing and get back and forth. But they noticed that one of their own was struggling. One of their own wasn't quite picking up the pace. And instead of making fun of him, instead of putting him down, instead of making him feel bad, they rallied around him. They didn't literally, but they picked him up. They didn't pick him up, but they picked him up in his spirit and were like, you can do this. Boys and girls, think about that in your class today. Are you going to show loving kindness, or are you going to bring somebody down? Show kindness and think about special ways that you can show that kindness to others. And I really hope that's something you'll work on. Well, I thought this was going to be shorter, but it really wasn't. So I'm going to stop talking now and wish you a wonderful, wonderful day. Remember, show kindness. This is a great month to really work on that, because we're at that point where we're tired of seeing each other. So that's when we need that extra special measure of kindness and grace toward one another. And remember that today. Show kindness. All right, have a wonderful day. Good job listening, and we will see you next week. Bye, guys.